Greetings, beloved. Hello, it's Dr. Amanda Noelle, and you may hear some construction noise today. I decided not to move this video to somewhere more quiet because I want to hack through these blocks that are stopping women from finding healthy, nourishing, satisfying, evolutionary relationships with their ultimate beloved, what I call a twin flame. So today I'm going to be talking about this massive wound that all women hold. It's the classic divine feminine wound, which is the fear of abandonment. And the way that so many of you have been asking me and saying, you know, when I've been asking you, what's your biggest block? You've been responding in these polls and through comments on my channel. There's a deep fear of being cheated on. And this is something that's really uncomfortable to face. And so I want to address this topic of how to heal from the fear of being cheated on. Because if we have a fear, what happens is thought creates things. And if we've been cheated on in the past, we can get stuck in a cycle of going, well, oh shit, I hope it doesn't happen again. And then that I hope it doesn't happen part gets cut out, and then happen again happens again. So if you have been cheated on, or even if you just were that girl that would always fall in love with some amazing, sexy person, and that person would like someone else, wasn't even necessarily that you were cheated on, but that you felt like there was this soul connection, the sparks were flying, and then that went away. You know, it's happened to me over and over and over again. And it wasn't until I healed this deep, very powerful wound that I could go on to meet my twin flame. So first I'm going to talk about the why. Why do we have this wound? Then I'm going to talk about how to appreciate the wound. And then let's talk about how to release it so that you don't attract twin flame counterfeits, so that you don't attract cheaters, so that you don't attract illusions that cause you to puff your ego up and say, I'm loved, and then whoosh, it gets taken away. Or even not just the ego, but the heart and the sacred beauty in your soul as a twin flame lover. So feel free to post in the comments. You can say hello if you're here live. And if you're watching the replay, I would love you to share on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you have the fear of being abandoned? And guys, I see we have Juan here. We have some gentlemen on this live stream. So what happens with men is either they'll manifest being cheated on, or they will manifest the more common stereotype. Really, if you look at statistics, women are also cheating on men. The number is higher. More men are cheating on women. More men are unfaithful outside of their marriages. But this is actually becoming a little bit more equal, where women are starting to cheat as much as men have. So the men, how it traditionally manifests is the men tended in the past to be more in the position to cheat. You know, the woman was at home with the children. She didn't have financial freedom. A lot of traditional cultures, women weren't really allowed out of the house. I know I lived in Italy, and I was very curious why no women, when I was studying abroad, no single women would just wander around and have tea and go out, you know, alone. And my friend explained to me, well, that's really weird. You know, we would think that she's kind of like a strange woman. I don't know why we think that. She's like, actually, that's really strange that we think that. But no one questioned the fact that women need to be covered up and at home with their families or with their husband or boyfriend. That's the only time to go out. So there's this old persecution of the feminine, this overprotection that it's part of the why. I don't want to go into that too much yet before we set some sacred space. So let's just call in your pain, call in your abandonment wound, and let's just set the intention that this starts to soften during this live training, or if you're watching the replay during this training, that it be sort of a ceremony. Of course, they always say that those who stay on beyond the video, that come to do the deeper level of work and do the homework in between these videos, you're going to get so much more value. We have a complimentary 75-minute training that's going to be even better than any of the videos that I've done on YouTube. So make sure that you click the link. I'll put it in the description box. It's aphroditeuniversity.org/booty camp. We're going to do a 75-minute training just for women who are here to resurrect their self-love, which is the key thing to do before you start looking for your twin flame, because we manifest what we mirror, and we call in all of our blind spots, blocks, wounds, pains, traumas until we heal them, turn those traumas into treasures, turn those pains into pleasures. That's when we align with a twin flame mirror that's really in our heart and soul alignment. That's an exciting, healthy partnership. So if you've been cheated on, if you've been abandoned, or if you're in this weird chase or runner, or that person's like dating someone else, this triangle, and you're just really heartbroken, then there's a deeper self-love issue going on. You will want to come to Twin Flame Self-Love Booty Camp, and we'll be working on identifying the 3 most important hacks to self-love. All right, so I wanted to mention that before I forget. Now, the why. Why do women have this deep wound, or the feminine? Because you might be a man watching this, although my tribe is we really work with female love leaders, but the men have this wound as well. So I want to mention that because we do have one here. So we have to understand why this has been here. Okay, so historically, I've studied this on a level of the psychic level, and looking at hundreds of one-on-one clients, thousands of group connections through my Facebook comments, to group coaching calls, to my students at Aphrodite University. A lot of women, when I read their psychic field, they're stuck in not this lifetime, but their ancestors' experiences, as well as their own past lives. So a lot of energy still needs to be cleared around the times of war and around the times of colonization. So colonization is usually where a more pagan, earth-based society with less sophisticated technology gets taken over during a war. It could be a holy war. It could be a war for the land. It's usually a war for money and power. And it's not coming from love. And so what happened, and is still happening around the world, is people are taking without asking, raping the land, raping indigenous cultures, raping ancient traditions that, you know, have worked with plant medicine, magic healing, you know, shamanism, sacred sexuality, and where there's been a very, very delicate expression of the feminine, protecting the earth, protecting the feminine, protecting women. So I've found in working with hundreds of one-on-one clients that a lot of my clients who have a higher percentage of blood that went through a traumatic colonization experience recently, aka a lot of Latin American clients of mine they show me immediately when I work with them in one-on-one readings and coaching calls that there is like a very recent persecution energy, scenes of women being raped, the new offspring of this, you know, rapist and this more, you know, pagan indigenous woman. This is an example that is in all of us. We were this recent, whether you are black, white, red, gold, doesn't matter. We've all been colonized. And I believe that the entire planet is still being colonized by higher forms of consciousness. It's funny that this drilling just happened right as I'm sharing this. Higher forms of consciousness, meaning in the lower 4th dimension. And you know, here on the 3rd density plane where we are at, 3D Earth, the material world is created by what's going on in the 5th dimension, as above, so below. So we can reflect the angels, but we can also reflect our terror and fear. And what separates the 5th and the 3rd dimension is the lower 4th. And that is where there is that demonic energy, that control energy. And you can look at it in all the Greek myths. You can look at the myths about the Anunnaki, myths around the world, that there is this colonization from ancient aliens that came down and have controlled humanity. So we've been enslaved. Really, I think this is a more perfect metaphor that we, our past versions of ourselves, have been controlling us and creating a colonization pattern where we colonize others, and we have to actually catch ourselves. So women who are, oh my gosh, this is so loud. I have to like, I don't know what to do. It's like so uncomfortable. I don't know why I chose to be here. Well, I guess my intuition was perfect, but literally this whole morning there has been no problem with the construction. Right now it's right on the other side of the wall. So I'm taking it as a good sign that there's something here to be cleared. So a lot of you are going through spiritual awakenings, and this is not just what's happening in your life right now. Your spiritual awakening, your twin flame encounters are mirroring what has happened in past lives. And it's also mirroring a more holographic, a macrocosmic experience of Gaia being colonized by other star seeds, other starry nations, other galactic councils, some from a very reptilian and dark point of view. So this represents the shadow part of ourselves, the satanic part. You know, this word Saturn is part of a piece of the zodiac. We're all here to face our satanic selves. We all have a little dark side. If you're in denial about this, it's actually really fun to play with, of like, oh, I guess I do have this like really big inner bitch. And the Saturnian energy is actually really important. Women who get cheated on will often be suppressing their darkness, their shadow, their desire for what they want. And they'll be actually receiving a lot of this satanic energy from the cheater and from the partner that's leaving them, that pain. Because Satan, the dark energy, the Saturnian energy, feeds off of pain. So that Saturnian energy wanted to create massive colonizations, and we can stop this cycle of creating pain on Indigenous people, creating pain inflicted upon the divine feminine, when we stop inflicting that pain upon ourselves. So we have a great responsibility as divine feminine love leaders, and the men have the responsibility as well to heal their own divine feminine, to stop, doing things that are out of alignment, selling products that are destructive to the planet or destructive to families. That's why I only sell something that I really truly believe in. And I do my best to improve my services and to improve my teachings. And we're not perfect, but as a love leader, we have to do everything from the light, and also honor that we have these self-saboteurs and destructive qualities. So if you have attracted abandonment patterns over and over again, you've been hurt, you've been heartbroken, there is a part of you that actually has a soul purpose mission that is not being lived out. And there's a part of you that needs to unleash the inner bitch. And there's a part of you that's not wanting to tell off the wolf in sheep's clothing, the Jesus in disguise, or the devil in disguise as the savior. So the biggest, I'm going totally off of my outline of first I wanted to share why. Well, I guess I did that. So we have massive colonization issues happening. If you research this psychically, and if you also, do a lot of research on the history of this planet on a galactic metaphysical level, you will see a lot of Star Wars. You will experience and see a lot of light workers being enslaved. And it hasn't really been until the 2012 shift where we could come back as twin flames, as light workers, sharing this life and actually being grounded, having root chakras that are fully embodied, not just, the typical angel doesn't have a root chakra. Typical angel is like all heart chakra and above. That's why we have the angel wings. We kind of sever the genitalia, and we do the circumcision as a way to sever the ties with the divine man. And women, of course, deal with this just like I'm dealing with this really loud construction noise, which wasn't here until, of course, I started doing this video. So the enlightened twin flame angel is going to want to really get down and dirty into these lower chakras. And when we do this, embodying all 7 chakras, we actually have to face the most intense trauma of our ancestors that wasn't dealt with. We have to deal with the lifetime where, the mother was raped by, multiple warriors coming in, and where, she was forced to marry one of those rapists and have the child and disassociate from her full being. So we carry these lingering patterns, these patterns where the feminine has disassociated. And on some level, there's a gift here, which I'm going to talk about. However, there is a massive disconnect with so many, especially people that are scouring the web for twin flame answers. They're, looking for their twin flame. They're so committed to this path, but sometimes they're missing the mark, and they're actually allowing a Saturnian, a satanic energy, an energy that's the Saturnian energy. Saturn is grounded in our root chakra. And go Capricorns. If you're Capricorn, you might have a lot of this grounding either energy, or you're karmically healing the Saturn codes, where Saturn just wants to take. It has kind of a unconscious, it wants to build an empire. It wants to ground the land and own everything, because it's a beautiful thing to have land. But the Saturnian energy has to be balanced with all of the other signs and all the other aspects of the tree of life, the Sephirot and the Kabbalah, the tarot card deck, the zodiac. They're all different, of this body of 12. So everything's broken into infinite rays of possibility. But if you are a student of the Kabbalah, if you're a student of tarot, if you're a student of astrology, you will understand that it's really about balance. And this aspect that we have not hit in a positive way, in an empowering way yet, is that our root chakras have been in a state of colonization. We have been enslaved. Some of us have been enslaving others in a line of slavery. That's actually how the systems have worked. If you study any kind of system of slavery, if you study migrant farm workers, how that business is set up, if you study Nazism, there is an order where some guy at the top has a pyramid, and there's a scheme where there's like the top slave master, and then there's lower slave masters enslaving people at the bottom. So the top slave master doesn't have to touch and deal with all those people. So the reason I'm talking about this is because we are part of this all-seeing eye at the top, and the all-seeing eye at the top is actually meant to be enlightened. We are meant to rise up and colonize the dark entity and energy, that Lilith, that Satan, that Baphomet, Baal, the different aspects of this energy that has been taking over our third eye, that's been taking over our wombs, that's been colonizing every aspect of our life. And you have been heavily colonized if your relationships are dysfunctional, if your mind is dysfunctional, if your diet is dysfunctional, if your health is suffering. You might be a multiple 7-figure earner, but if your health is failing you, you have hormone imbalance as a woman in her 40s, and you're not sleeping at night, you're starting to have cysts and lumps, this is a sign that you are being enslaved by an energy that's not looking out for you. So you have the freedom, we all have the freedom to slay this demon and get into alignment. So what it looks like is leaving the system of slavery, which is like the dude at the top. And it's about balancing that with having community at the top serving you. That's the feminine chalice. Community at the top, those that used to be the slaves, are owning the land, and there is one common source, which is Gaia. We are all serving her. So this is the medicine of the indigenous wisdom keepers. The sacred villages would be all of the entire community owning, well, not really owning, but being responsible for the land. So bringing this back, I did not know I would go all over the place with the channeling. I always do, so I should expect that. Bring it back to being cheated on. A lot of you who have been cheated on are caught in a cycle of enslavement. And I don't want to say you, because it's really all of us. All of us women have been enslaved in a system, and it's time for us to step out. It's time for us to step into self-love and sovereign states. A sovereign state within our being, and to come together and create and collaborate in community. And it takes being an initiate into our own power. So the solution to being cheated on is actually to leave somebody who is cheating on you. The solution to ending the cycle of being cheated on is to leave and say no to someone who's cheating on you. So the solution to abandonment is actually abandoning abandonment. I want you to feel into what it would look like if you fully abandoned by loving and bowing to your abandonment wound, or to that who is causing your abandonment wound, I shall say, therefore healing your abandonment wound. What if you were to bow and say, no, thank you. I'm done with this. To not your beloved, but the aspect of your beloved who is embodying that satanic energy. And if you were to say, bye-bye, Lucifer, I am not cool with you wounding me over and over again. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to say goodbye. Well, guess what? There's going to be a part of your soul, the mind-controlled part, that says, well, if I leave my beloved, even if they're treating me like shit, then I'll never have another chance at true love. That is what we need to clear. So many women are terrified of setting a healthy boundary for themselves. And what they don't know is that when they don't set healthy boundaries, which I'll be teaching about the importance of healthy boundaries and giving you some tips on how to set healthy boundaries in Twin Flame Self-Love Bootcamp, which is happening on July 11th. If we don't heal our healthy boundaries and we have loose boundaries where, yeah, it's okay if you leave me. I'm not even talking about a committed relationship. If you're obsessing, let's change the wording. If there's a woman here who is obsessing about some relationship that she believes is her twin flame union, and the person she's obsessing about is not showing up for her 111%. Because that's how the twin flame union is. You show up for each other 111% because you're showing up for yourself and you see the value of that union. So she is accepting less than 111. She's accepting, oh, I'm trying my best, but I'm like at 60% and I'm maybe dating around and not really checking in with what you want. If she is waiting for someone and she's waiting in her own pain, that sends a message to her brain that it's okay for her to be the sacrificial lamb versus the queen. And if she doesn't claim her crown and her throne as the queen in her twin flame union, guess what's going to happen? Well, that throne is going to be empty. She's going to be on the floor, and there's another queen that's going to step in. There's going to be the mistress, the courtesan. We all have these aspects of us. We all have an archetype of a courtesan and a mistress. There will literally be someone that's getting in her throne where she does not get to have her twin flame committed 3D, 5D aligned relationship because her twin flame has chosen to mirror her deepest, darkest fear, which is that she doesn't deserve to be in the throne. So any woman who is suffering from being cheated on, the solution is to put yourself back in the throne regardless of the consequences. And yes, you will have to fight your own demons. And that's why I am here. And that's why I'm running the 75-minute complimentary baby boot camp called Twin Flame Self-Love Booty Camp. If I didn't say it right, it's actually Booty Camp. Booty Camp is completely free. I am going to be running a 3-part, actually a 4-part online training after Booty Camp. It's going to be called Boot Camp. It's a longer term one. But this complimentary training is going to be like an espresso shot of love, of self-love. So many women do not have self-respect. And why? It's because of the unhealed trauma that their ancestors went through. Literally, we're holding codes in our blood. DNA experiences epigenetics, where the feminine was not honored and revered, not seen as an equal, but where she was shat upon, where she was deemed a whore, where her crown was taken off, and she was violently mutilated and tortured and raped. And yes, Mary Magdalene is one of the avatars that served as a victim of satanic ritual sacrifice. And she is healing from this through the hologram as each woman, as each of you rises up into her queendom. And goddess Isis and the goddess Gaia and the goddess in all of us, the divine mother herself, rises here on earth when we take a stand and we say no to abandonment. When we see abandonment as just a shadow of ourself and we're no longer willing to accept it. But what if I can't afford to say no? What if I don't have financial support? What if, what if I get abused? What if someone tries to kill me? Well, we've been through that for many lifetimes. And every time you will get through it. I have met women that have escaped really terrible situations, being abused by someone they thought was their twin flame. I've met women who have escaped financial poverty because they were married to their caretaker, their man, and they had no job or skills. They hadn't worked for many, many years, and they left that relationship and figured out how to function as grown-ass women. They've even done it with having multiple children. So if they can do it, anyone can do it. It's not about, I can't do it. It's about, how can I do it? How can I find a twin flame who loves me by not abandoning myself? How do I commit to me? So any of the thoughts of, I might not be able to do it, I don't know how to do it, change them around and you'll have such amazing results, because the universe loves you. The universe wants you to be loved and to love and to fall in love with your twin flame, because the universe is made of twin flame energy, and that twin flame energy goes into chaos, but the universe wants it to come back into sacred geometry, sacred geometrical order. So we went through the why. We have gone through lifetimes and even millennia and even galactic orbits of colonization that has created a patriarchal energy colonizing the womb energy of the feminine, colonizing the land, colonizing our indigenous wisdom keepers, so that they couldn't fully protect the feminine. So it's our job. The solution is to rise in our masculine and say no. Say no to abandonment. Say no to heartbreak. Say no. Instead of making excuses, well, he's working on himself. He's my twin flame. He's definitely my twin flame. Even though he's not treating me right, even though as I work on loving myself, he leaves me, even though our soul purposes don't align because he's going off and doing this thing, and what I really want to do is this. Those women are actually perpetuating the cycles of abuse, and they're not only perpetuating it, they are reinforcing it, because as consciousness rises, as we're going through the post-2012 shift, our consciousness is even more powerful. Thought creates things, and it's creating it even faster. So when we create positive thought, our children, our 3D reality, these global villages, they start to thrive. So let's thrive in a world of love, letting go of abandonment, letting go of the abandonment abuse wounds. And let's thrive with the support of the divine feminine. So it starts by healing and loving our divine feminine and believing in her, even if it's scary to leave that patriarchal abuser, that Saturnian energy that is in all life. But we're here to accept that it no longer has to control us, that we can annihilate the shadow, and we can use the shadow as a source of power. We can turn our satanic energy and dark force energy and shadow around to eradicate the shadow that's out in the world. That's what it's for. That's the medicine of Saturn. So if you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. I'm going to go through some of the comments. I have a hard time sharing and giving feedback. So thank you so much to Cineralia, and I don't know if I pronounced that beautiful name right. That's really gorgeous. So she says she hasn't been cheated on, but her last relationship, but now the fear is real, even though it's never happened to her. Now the love that she feels all the time, there's still a fear. So that really brings some illumination, the fact that even if you haven't been cheated on in this lifetime, even if your parents, if you don't come from a family of cheating, usually if there's cheating in parents, it will happen, it gets passed down, either the abandonment or the cheater abandoner. There's two sides of the same wound. So even if you haven't gone through deep betrayal this lifetime, the fear can be really, really real. So to Sineralia, the key here is to do the deep work, to fall into self-love, and you will start to clear out past life blocks and wounds, because we're not just healing the present moment, we're healing all of our future, all of our past, marrying the past and the present into this twin flame, male-female balance. So it feels like there's deep work to be done on the past, as well as like Sineralia is probably having a fear of the future. Like, well, I'm good now, I'm in love now, but what's going to happen in the future? So there's probably a mirror of something that happened in the past life, maybe even blood lineage. I know in our line, we found out that one of our ancestors actually cheated on his wife with the wife's sister. And that was this huge, big ordeal that broke up the family. And then there were multiple divorces that happened after that. And there's just a lot of karmic baggage that we had to work through before Jack and I, my twin flame and I, got married. We had no idea how connected that ancestral experience was to the current pain that we were going through. So we are all connected through blood. We all hold the epigenetics, and self-love is going to be the most powerful medicine here. And there's probably a place where Sineralia is disconnecting from her self-love. And when we disconnect from self-love, we'll go into fear of like, am I safe? Am I going to be cheated on? And those anxiety thought spirals can happen. Thank you, Vim, for being here. It's awesome. And let's see. Vim says, I was obviously abandoned in every life. I have deep pain of body abandonment. I never knew this affected my entire life. So this is a really good point, even though I don't know if she's talking about deep physical pain, but there are many who suffer with chronic illness, chronic immune disorders, chronic pain, and the abandonment wounds of the feminine, the divine feminine wound is abandonment. The divine masculine wound, I didn't mention this, the divine masculine wound is actually being smothered or being suffocated by the feminine. So they go well together, right? And I've had to work through that with Jack, where he's like, stop smothering me, or stop, I need space. And eventually, when I got over my fear of being abandoned, his fear of being smothered just washed away. So I'm sure we'll have different chapters in our life that will come up, especially when I'm getting a lot older and I'm 9 years older than Jack, when he's still looking, super trim and yummy and hot in his 40s. And I'm going to be like, in my later 50s, and I'm going to be like, oh shit, is he going to abandon me? And it's like, I'm actually painting the picture. So it's really fun and exciting. That we'll work through it with total ease and flow and support, and full of surprises, good surprises. But in reality, we're always going to have challenges and initiations, is what I call them, in our twin flame union. And so Vim is saying that she has had deep abandonment. This can manifest as deep pain that she even feels, either energetically. I don't know if it's physical pain or if it's more energetic chakras and things like that. We're just, usually it's in the chakras for me when I feel energy, but I also tend to feel it a lot in my left side of my head, which is where some of the women in my family were physically abused, and where I actually remember being hit as a child by one of my daycare teachers. Anyways, so Vim, and those of you who feel abandonment pain in your body, I dare you to go out and look for love that's not sexual black magic love, not like, I want to fall in love with you. A lot of women that have abandonment wounds will go to the other extent. And instead of looking for a deep divine spiritual relationship, they'll find the opposite chakra, the root chakra, where men are either taking care of them financially, but they're not really fully loving, or where the sexual energy is coming into them. And there's sort of a transactional thing going on where it's not deep 7 chakras in the body, and then the chakras above and below, the 11 twin flame chakras, are not fully being filled with love. All right. So my dare to you again is to find true loving support from whatever type of people you date. If you date men, to find it from male friends, to find steady, healthy love, and to, really work on the place where you would normally push it away. What I'm calling out here for some of you, I had this massively in myself, is there's almost actually an opposite version of abandonment where you are abandoning the good guys. You're abandoning the angelic, loving people. And I know when I met Jack, I'd worked a lot through that block, and his energy was so big. He was like this big angel when I met him on the dance floor, and he was super loving. He actually grabbed my hand. We didn't even have a conversation before we spoke. He grabbed my hand on this beautiful dance floor, ecstatic dance. And he looked in my eyes, and it was like whoosh, this deep connection. But it was really hard once we stepped off the dance floor. I just wanted to shut down, and I was like, well, I gotta go, you know. Yeah. And he was like, let me get your Facebook. And I was like, well, no. And I made all these excuses because, right, real love is real. It's fucking terrifying. It's so terrifying. So abandonment is more terrifying in the end. So you choose, you have the choice. Do you want true love, which is scary, or do you want abandonment, which is scary? Because ultimately it's the same fear. It's two sides of the same coin. So which do you choose? So getting some comments here, and then I will have to hop off. I'm going to be toning these calls down to 30 minutes, live stream Tuesdays, because again, you know, it's really dangerous to, you know, come to spaces like this, which are just a taste of the work. It's almost like an espresso shot every week. The deeper work needs to be done in a really potent container where I can share in sequence what needs to be gone through. So we don't have time in this container to go through the deeper exercises. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper at Twin Flame Self-Love Booty Camp. The Booty Camp is 75 minutes. So we're going to be able to open more of a container. And these Tuesday calls are, you know, they're just Q&A. They're like little treats, little activations here and there. This is not the full body of work. So if you are struggling with twin flame love, just know that it's great to come here. You can fill up, and my full level of twin flame activation support is so much deeper. And whatever sources that you go to, whether you work with a mentor or you work with, you know, a guide that's out of this world, if you work with a program, make sure that you get support, because it's not easy to see our own blind spots. So while we have this space to kind of stimulate conversations, this is not like my coaching calls. So I'm not just giving little tidbits and activations. To actually implement this will take a lot work, which is a lot more work, which is why I have programs in place at Aphrodite University, and even my short upcoming Twin Flame Self-Love Booty Camp, followed by the 4-part boot camp. It's going to be 3 boot camps and a group coaching call. So lots of exciting stuff. Thank you. I'm just going to read. Andromeda says, I love your words of wisdom. You're truly amazing. I met my twin flame, and anytime I met my, I met him, my chakras and kundalini would open, but I've healed a lot over the last 10 months. And even though my twin flame hasn't been communicative, I don't want to let go. It's such a challenge. So again, this is exactly what I'm talking about, is saying no to anything less than being treated like a queen. So if you believe someone's your twin flame, they're not treating you like a queen, completely doing the deep healing work that it takes so that you can let them go. Letting go of your twin flame is required to know how to have your twin flame. And when we say this so-and-so John is my twin flame, and the John's not showing up for us, it's actually perpetuating the cycle of abuse. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. Saying goodbye to John, bowing, saying, I do not accept that behavior. I'm moving on with my life. I'm doing the deep inner healing work. I'm going to find somebody who fully embodies committed twin flame love. I'm ending, you know, karmic contracts where I'm stuck in fantasy, obsessing over John, obsessing over why he left me, obsessing over when's he going to come back, and actually committing to a healthy partnership, because that's what twin flames do. We're not here to perpetuate cycles of abandonment, loss, obsession. We are here to embody goddess of love codes. So when Andromeda, you fully embody the goddess of love, your twin flame will be the mirror in front of you that's embodying the god of love, who will come together and work together. When you're not fully embodying that, that's when you are going to find the person that abandons you, and you're going to say, that's my twin flame. And I would say, you know, why would you choose to make an agreement saying someone's your twin flame until they actually show up for you like a queen? And a lot of people, you know, will make excuses like, well, I had instant twin flame recognition. I had 1111s everywhere, had eye contact recognition. I had all that with my false twin flame, but it was actually, I was being match made by a lower fourth dimensional entity and organization that wanted me to marry my false twin flame the same way that Mary Magdalene was being falsely aligned with her false twin flame. And she decided to say no to that and actually to continue the bloodline with her true twin flame. I believe we're going to find out more information about that with things to be revealed. That's a conversation for another time. Danielle Edwards says, the idea of the twin flame leaving me, abandonment one way or another because of sexual issues, wanting to wait to have sex until marriage, fear that this issue will be the main obstacle. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. I'm just going to read through these. Vim says that it's a process. As soon as I let go, I met someone new. That is so powerful. One of my courses is called Let Go, Let Love. And when women take that course, they will often shed decades of attachment to a false twin flame or even their true twin flame, and that will instigate a new path of healing. So feel free to check out that course. You can email my team at info@aphroditeuniversity.org if you're interested in Let Go, Let Love, to let go of false flames, exes, and karmic counterfeits that we teach at Aphrodite University. Darsoon says, are we separated and reunited 3 times? Let's see. We separated and reunited 3 times in 10 years' time. After my awakening last year, I began healing, but we aren't communicating now. Am I so obsessed with him? I'm not sure. That's a great question. Am I so obsessed with him? Chances are, if you're taking space from someone and there's still a lot of thought about this person or this relationship, there hasn't been a full cord cutting and the psyches are intertwined. So it's important to do that psyche cutting work to let go of them so that you can continue really working on self-love, and vice versa, focus on the self-love, healing yourself, which is exactly what, we'll be starting to do some activation on with Twin Flame Self-Love Booty Camp. Otherwise, obsession is just going to keep on going, and that could create the separation pattern with either this partner or another. Yeah, so Vim says, wow, I didn't know you could get matched by lower entities to a false, or she was just mentioning that. So absolutely, we all have, the Twin Flame Matchmaker that is in heaven, and we have the Twin Flame Matchmaker that is in hell, and that's really part of our upper and lower worlds, and we have to conquer the demons that want to sabotage us. But, just like drugs are addictive, it can be very addictive to be attracted to satanic twin flame matchmaking, where you're, there's like this Cupid's energy that hits you and you fall in love and you're like, oh my God, I've never felt anything like this before. Just like cocaine. I've never taken cocaine, but I imagine, or some type of, drug, and it's the exact same hormones and things that go on in our body, when we fall in love, that the twin flame union emits in the long term. Like I would say, as a twin flame in a healthy twin flame union, I am in love every day. It's not the same intensity as it was with my drug lord, my false twin flame. He and I had this really intense energy, and it was so passionate and fiery, but of course it couldn't sustain because there wasn't a healthy foundation there, and we were being match made. Part of why we broke the relationship off is because I went into a plant medicine journey and saw that we were being match made at this temple with this snake entity. And I was like saying that I was screaming all these things out. Anyways, got us in a lot of trouble, and got in trouble with the law, and ended up never getting back in that relationship because he didn't want to be with me because I had told him all this stuff. And in the end, it was a huge gift because my conscious mind thought he was my twin flame when I went in to look at this union. And then thank God, because afterwards, after 5 years of waiting around thinking he was my twin flame, he still abandoned me 5 years later. He still didn't show up. He went to the house next door and visited my neighbor and didn't show up and say, hey, I love you. I'm here for you. And he had promised that he would do that. He said out loud, I'm going to do what it takes to heal and come back to you. And he didn't do that. So, I'm really here to take a stand against false twin flame energy. I'm here to take a stand against women that are perpetuating the cycles of abuse, saying, well, we had eye contact, we have angels, we have this. I had all of that. I had the false angels I had, or the fallen angels that look like real angels. I had the 1111 signs, but in the 3D world, it felt like a nightmare. So if your love life feels like a nightmare, then chances are there's some demon slaying that needs to happen. Come work with me. Let's do this. Let's go to Twin Flame Self-Love Booty Camp and create a new paradigm where the divine feminine can truly be supported. And it takes a divine mother, which is you, woman. So thank you for being this new divine feminine role model for yourself, for your own little girl that was perhaps not seen and encouraged to be a goddess, encouraged in her sensuality, in her metaphysical gifts, in her voice, in her sexual expression, in her spiritual expression, in her art form, and her creativity, all of these aspects of the divine feminine, most of all her emotions and her pain of being abandoned. So be the mother to that, and you will have your twin flame. The masculine will mirror this. Let's do this, ladies. I'm going to put the link, and we are going to wrap up. And one last comment, and then I'll wrap it up, is Daniel said, that's good, Amanda. That's what my ex-husband was, the satanic twin flame match. It was Hal. Thanks for being honest, but I trust that true love will wait for me if that is my need. There is no waiting. Now is the time. Step forward, move forward, do the deep self-love healing work. Commit to your twin flame path. It's not about waiting. It's about knowing that you're on the path now and taking as much action as you can on the inside and the outside of your life, and not wait for the outside world to somehow miraculously change. It's doing the deep inner work and taking action and showing up and testing out your newfound strength, facing fear, facing rejection, facing the miracles of abundance that are also going to come to you. And come and hang out with me. I know exactly how to do this. I've helped thousands of women to call in their twin flame. I get new matches and hear about new matches not every day, but every couple of days. And I've seen so many twin flame offspring children coming through, which is really, really special, because it's been hard to do this. And Susie's here. Hey, Susie. Susie and I go way back to the Bay Area. Susie, I've been thinking about you. Come connect with me. Come to Twin Flame Self-Love Booty Camp. I have a feeling that I can help you find your twin flame soon if you haven't been connecting already. So if you are here, chances are you know that too. So come to Twin Flame Self-Love Booty Camp, y'all. Let's do this together in sisterhood. Let's have a blast. It's free. It's on July 11th. I'll put the link, aphroditeuniversity.org/booty camp, all one word. And you're invited to crack open the new codes of divine feminine self-love and be a beacon of twin flame light. Mwah, namaste. See you on the 11th, everyone. And Susie. All right. Bye for now.